Also, people seem that the third round in Uzbekistan will end with 5 draws, but in this position, who looks like a dead draw in between Bokidov and the leader Madaminov. Here, the leader made a decisive mistake, no, 2 decisive mistakes in a row, who cost him the game in a more or less easy game. Because here, just black can play many moves to hold the equal. Because there is a endgame with queens and 5 pawns per side. That's true that black have these 2 a little bit weak pawns, but this doesn't matter. Black can play, for example, queen c7, defending d6 and defending f7. King h7, leaving the check is fine too. Or just go for counterplay with queen d2 or queen d1, just keeping the attack against the d3 pawn. And yes, Madaminov will hold the solo leadership because the rest of the games ended in a draw and still being the leader of the tournament in this easy endgame. But here he had so much time in the clock. He had like 50 minutes. But here he made a huge mistake. Because like I said, if you just doesn't make nothing with black, just a waiting move, the position is a draw. That's okay. Maybe white can take this pawn or this pawn, but the d3 pawn is weak too. So the d3 pawn compensate the black other pawn structure. So this is a more or less easy draw. But here the leader of the tournament, who won the last previous games, made an important mistake with g6. Because I'm sure that he missed the response by Bokidov, who make the correct move, of course, e5. That's a great move. The idea is that white is going to lose, black is going to lose a pawn by force. Because if you make the normal move, it takes c5. Now, queen e8, you can go here, because queen takes here. So, king g7, and now check, and check. And white take the 2 pawns with checks, and reaching a position with a extra pawn. The machine is still saying that this is a draw, but white is pushing, of course, because he have an extra pawn, and it's better, of course, have this position with the same pawns over the board that just give 2 pawns for 1. But after e5, Madaminov, instead of just go for this position and accept that he lost a pawn, but this is holdable by black with a good play. Because at least, okay, white have this extra pawn, but the other black pawns are solid, the king is safe. White one day should came out with his king and is going to receive many checks to can promote the d pawn. Could benefit white to have this pawn closer to the queen side. But okay, so black is still having problems in this position because he made the g6 bad move, but this is holdable. But the real decisive mistake by Madaminov in a more difficult position, of course, because this position is very easy, but after d5, now looks like everything is fine for white. So it's not easy to decide who is less worse for you. But here, Madaminov made his second decisive mistake, playing queen d7, queen c7. With this move, he tried to just not lose a pawn. But after e6, another great move. Now the problem is that, okay, for the moment, black is going to maintain the pawn, but he's going to have the double pawns who are so weak and the g6 weak pawn. With 3 weak pawns and the king unsafe, you cannot defend everything. So e6 great move, queen e8, queen e6, and here white is winning, like I said, because this pawn is weak, and this pawn is weak, because we have ideas of queen f7. For example, if you try to defend all the d pawns, queen f7 is coming. So it's impossible to defend all the pawns here by black. So now black is completely lost because he's going to lose a pawn, but added to that, he's going to still having 2 weak pawns, the g6 and the other d pawn who white doesn't take, and the king unsafe. Because in the other position, okay, white have an extra pawn, but at least black have no more weak pawns. All the black pawns are safe, and the king are safe. But now in this position, white is going, after that white takes the pawn, black is going to have 2 weak pawns and the king unsafe. So that's a huge difference compared with the other position. Queen b7, queen e4, queen g7, g4, just taking space. Queen f6, king g3, just improving the position. Black shouldn't hurry to take these pawns. Just he can still improving the position with h4, h5. King g7, queen f4. Now that's time, because black one day should play king g7, because if not, h4, h5 is coming. So after king g7, now queen f4, the king's endgame is completely winning, because These pawns are just one. So queen e7, and finally he takes the pawn. And the rest is easy because say this pawn is weak, this pawn is weak, the king is unsafe. H4, H5 is coming. So it's easy game by white. King h7, queen e4, queen e7, queen e6. See that black should have the queen very passive all the time, because if not, queen f7 or queen d6 is coming with devastating attack. So Bokidov improved his position. He plays the pawn on d5, great, taking space. And now he starts to advance the other pawn. He repeats a little bit. And finally, he plays h5. Great move, takes, and now the idea is that queen g6 is coming, taking on h6. So for that reason, he defended, and now the d6 pawn is falling. He traded his pawns, but because this pawn is unstoppable. So yes, shocking endgame by Madaminov, because looks like he had the draw secure and he's going to still be solo leader, and he failed in an unexpected moment. So now Abdusattorov and righ are tied with him with 2 points, and Bokidov have 1.5. So let's see what happened in the 4th round. Bye bye.